What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host.
Mikey Fever. It's a long Wednesday, man.
Yo,
Tired.
yo, man, I could understand that. I was on the other screen trying to figure something out, but tonight we got the God Magnetic Allah from Morocco, Seattle.
Peace in the building.
Peace, God. Now,
Peace.
you know, I like to have you on a consistent basis based on, you know, your background. Can you give people your background, and also you're a great mind. I would like for you to give the
Thank you, Lord.
people. You're welcome. I would like for you to give the people a brief history of who you are, just in case they don't know, and we could take it away and build on this cooperation piece.
Mm, mm. Um, that's a very vast question, God. And I ain't trying to be braggadocious or nothing, but that's a kind of a vast question. Did you want to kind of be a little bit more specific, Lord, about what you think the audience would like to know? Because
So
I could talk all day about that.
right, so let's just go into uh, your history as far as Steve Coakley is concerned and your revolutionary upbringing.
Ooh, Steve Oakley. That's deep.
You mean Kwame Ture?
Kwame, somebody else, Steve Coakley. Yeah,
Yeah.
pardon me, Kwame.
Yeah, Kwame Ture. I'm gonna start it from there. So I believe it was about '94. My kinfolk, he went to Howard, so he was in Kwame's class and whatnot, or in Kwame's circle, Pan Africanist circle. A lot of people were in that circle. So he came back. And he's like my older brother. He's like my god brother. So he was like, yeah, we want to bring, Kwame Ture to town. So I was like, oh, okay, bad. Now, he reached out to me because my father was one of the instrumental members of the Panther Party here in Seattle. And he was also in the nation, in Los Angeles and whatnot. So, and on the West Coast, believe it or not, the Panther Party and the Nation of Islam are real tight. It's a lot of crossovers, like with Bunchy Carter and whatnot, and with a lot of brothers, because that's just what it was. And just the kind of, I would say, the Pan-Africanists, the nationalists and whatnot, etc., they all rock with each other, and the Muslims rock with each other on the West Coast. It's real interesting, particularly in the '70s and in the '80s and whatnot. So, you know, with that, they knew my family was involved. So, we brought Kwame here and whatnot, and it was real interesting because the story that I had heard about the Panther Party and its origin, right, starting with Bobby Seale, Huey P. Newton, etc., in Oakland, it was different from what Kwame told me. You see, and that's what kind of started, my change and real grasp, practical grasp of what the Black Panther Party was and is. Because from how they told it, it started in Alabama, in Georgia, Mississippi, with the Lowe's County Freedom Organization. He said he started his Panther work registering people to vote while they was picking cotton, you know? Yeah. Because he wanted to talk to him when they was like, well, you got to come pick this cotton with me if we're going to talk, because I got to get this cotton picked. So I was like, wow. And eventually, we brought Willie Mukasa Ricks up here, and he told the same story. And he told us about, how the term Black Power was, emphasized, made national, and it was Willie Mukasa Ricks and Kwame Ture, down in Alabama, Mississippi. They said, they're dealing with all these forces that's coming at them as a community. And no matter what they did, it didn't matter. So they figured they needed Black power, you see. And I said, wow, makes sense.
Wow. That's deep. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Now, now let's go into the subject of I put African cooperation, right? On the thumbnail. And the power of unity on the title. The power of unity, can the African family unite for a common cause?
Right.
And with that title, how do you see that title?
I think as units within, I would say what we call the Black world civilization, there's more organization amongst these units that have to happen before the collective Black civilization, world civilization can come together. Because if we don't organize these different units, then we're just bringing together a lot of disorganization and mess.
Right.
And so, our unit here in the wilderness of North America being the foundational Black American unit, there's a lot of stuff we have to tighten up and organize ourselves amongst the units that's amongst us. Because there's different tribes and groups and organizations amongst us, And if Putin and Trump can sit down, and Zelensky and Trump can sit down, and they can come to resolutions and whatnot, I think it's possible for us to sit down, across generational lines and across organizational lines, and sit down at what we call the Black Roundtable, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Now, let's talk about the units. So the units, I love this conversation. Just too bad there are not enough people watching live. However,
They'll catch up.
they'll catch up. It's all about consistency. When Sharif gets a lot of views because he's been real consistent on the podcast for a year now. So that's the thing. But and then once this is over, people will view it anyway later. Now, the units. Let's go back to the units. The African American. Let's use that term, lack of a better term. So the African American unit. Then you have.
I would say foundational Black American, because you could say African American, and that could be people who are from anywhere that come here that are African.
I don't mean to cut. I don't mean to cut you, brother, but yeah, that's right. Because you know what's so funny? I was teaching a class, right? I was teaching a psych class, and it was this Jamaican sister. I didn't know she was Jamaican because she's she doesn't have an accent. So we're talking, and then I'm are you African American? She says, yes, I'm African American. I said, okay, what part of America are you from? She said, no, I'm Jamaican. And I said,
it happens.
Like, yo, how'd you come
but here go the twist. Elon Musk is African American.
Yeah, he is from South Africa.
See how that go?
Yeah.
And we're not the same as Elon Musk, so
but
that's why you gotta.
That's nationality. Real quick, as he said, the unity, right? One thing we got to realize: our so-called Black people within the diaspora continent are not monolithic. We have to take in consideration, as you said, different tribes before colonialism. Then you got to put on top of that colonialism from different oppressors, somewhere, Spain, France, or England. You get what I'm saying? They were conquered, so the mindset is corrupt. And some hold on to heritage deeper as far as their nationality, different struggles, different perspectives. And I'm glad that he started off by saying Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, because he's of Trinidadian descent.
Right.
But he identified with the struggle that we're here because he was experiencing himself. Yeah.
See? So, and that's what I mean by the Black world civilization. Yeah. There are certain ones of us who, even if we do identify with our individual tribe, we also identify with the Black world civilization, because that's really what it is. Any way you want to shape it, at a certain point, in my observation of history, at a certain point, there were certain Black nations that was being wiped out. So they began to stand together as one Black world civilization and poured it all into one pot. We now call that Black. And as you see, Black is it's a world phenomenon. It's not just something that we do in the ghettos of North America. It's a world phenomenon, and it was built to be like that, And we don't try to wash nobody's particular nationality out within Black. Nope. When they talk about Joseph in the Bible, it said Joseph had a coat of many colors, you know, and Joseph's story is very similar to our story, you know, being sold into slavery. But the coat of many colors mean it's 16 different shades from black to gold, you know,
Mhm.
and that's the beauty of it, you know. And we ain't talking about no rainbow stuff either. We talking about the 16 different shades from
Mhm.
black to gold, you know.
Now
It's
I want to go in. I want to go into so the units, right? So
hmm
if we'll for lack of a better term, we'll use foundational Black Americans because that's what you that's how you see it. So uh as far as that unit, we have to get our stuff together, right? One of the things is we don't even we haven't we just alone with the names we call each other or ourselves as this unit, right? We have differences of perspectives and opinions just on the name alone. So aside from just the name, what else does the FBA, what else do we have to fix? Now you talk about cooperation. That's
hmm
that would be huge in our unit, right?
There
Cooperation.
you
But
go.
how do we get cooperation? How do we cooperate? How do we come up with,
hmm
okay, you say black, I say more. How do we come to the table with just one term where we could agree on that and then move forward?
I mean, when I say cooperation, though, fam, I'm talking about practical projects. I'm not just talking about having conversations because conversations can be whatever they are, you know, period. But when I say cooperation, I'm talking about projects that we do that deal with food, clothing, and shelter, and what I call the civics of civilization. You understand what I'm saying? And that's really what it's about, you know, the 12 jewels, being able to produce those 12 jewels for our nation. And yeah, I accept within our nation that we have people that call themselves Hebrew. I accept there's people that call themselves Muslim, Christian. You know, there's people that call themselves maybe Afro Mexican and whatnot, but they live here in this country and whatnot. You know what I mean? And they didn't maybe um, made it with the black person that's foundational Black American. You know, I understand there's many, many layers to this identity that we're saying is foundational Black American. Um, but I don't think for just to focus on the differences is going to move us to where we need to be. You know, we have to be able to sit at the table and say, well, look, man, these are the things that all of us need across the board. How can we fill in these blanks with programs, principles, practices that are practical, you know, not
Okay.
stuff that's super complicated, man, because sometimes I feel like people, we try to make stuff too complicated, but it's not really that complicated.
Right. Now,
Mm.
and what's really not complicated is um basically looking at the problems and coming up with solutions. Because we all have great ideas because of the type of mind,
Definitely.
the type of mind that we have. So we all
Mhm,
have it's simple to come up with ideas. Now,
mhm.
I want you to give me some ideas that could pretty much, if we implement, can catapult our, let's start off with our unit, which is foundational Black Americans. What could we implement now that can fill in holes and gaps and things like that in our unit?
Um, Anything that you're doing is defined by the quality of people that are at the table, the quality of their ideas, and the quality that they can, you know, actually actualize those ideas, you know. And that's my observation and, you know, perception. So something that I don't know if we've had it, but maybe it got washed over.
Mhm.
But there's not really, you know, like I said, a big round table where the whole of our people can come and put what's going on and give good reports of what's going down in different regions or amongst different, cliques or different, aspects of our people. That's what I mean by the Black Roundtable. So if we don't really have that, then what happens is that we try to make a solution that's maybe based upon a small group of us and how we think and how we see it. But it's not really dealing with the whole because the whole is not at the table. But at this point, in our development as builders, I'm gonna say, I think we all can see why we need to build a bigger table.
So,
you understand?
so you're basically saying this is a call of action, a call of dialogue need to be made among a certain group of individuals to come to a consensus. So basically, more than likely, your own hierarchy needs to be built. Your own hierarchy needs to be built up. Pick up like a census. Go out there, like we know what's going on. Organization.
There you go.
Basically, comes to the table. Consensus. I think we said this yesterday. A re-education need to be recreated. You get what I'm saying? Like we know the conditions, but let's not come at it with the same talking points. It's be solutionaries. Take initiative. You got to be
and reach out to some groups we haven't really reached out to. And really the builders. Bring the builders to the table, and then we have a bigger pool to pull from, and it's not this little small group of people that you already know and I already know. You know what I mean? Yeah, so
right. So
that's kind of the first step to me, and that way we build something that's big enough for all of us, and all of us are present in the building. Because if we say we're building something, but we don't invite as many of the folks that we know, that are builders as we can, they're gonna say, well, nigga, how you gonna build something for me and I'm not at the table when you coming up with the plan? Right. You see what I'm saying? How you gonna design some clothes for me, man? I'm not there. You have a mannequin of me? So that's what I'm saying, family. That's what I'm saying. I think that's a better way to come at it. We're not making assumptions. We have a nice, well-rounded span of people to really ask these questions to, man.
Right. I have something. Okay. The God has the Black Roundtable. I'm going to propose this right here on the podcast. Let's just use the Black, I don't know if you take the word use offensive, but I would say let's utilize the Black Roundtable as the table to bring everybody to the table.
Sure.
As it's at that I think that's the idea of the Black Roundtable, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
indeed.
So we can do that just with this platform alone, right? Whether we could have this conversation in private or we can have this conversation in front of the public, where we're having people like Brother Eric Muhammad or someone else from the Nation of Islam, Sharif on, you brother. Someone else from the 5% Nation, all coming together to figure out solutions for our unit in particular. And I think that's I don't know if anyone could write that down or whatever, but like we could do podcasts on it, and we can take from the podcast, we can then go and privately do active work.
Sounds like part of me.
Yeah, it actually does. Yeah, well, but only you.
Well, this is a discussion that I've had with quite a few of my Moorish brothers, and we were talking about the common denominators between, say, the gods, the Nation of Islam, the Moors, and some of the just al-Islam Muslims. You know what he said? He said the term Asiatic is something that we all are magnetized by, we all are attracted to and bonded to. I said, wow.
Right.
The term, Asiatic, and it goes back into history, as far as, a particular identity or identifying a specific culture of people.
Right. Now, the Black Roundtable, I'm proposing that we like I said, utilize that, and we have some serious conversations. Now, we have serious conversations and action moving behind that, right? Because just as you said early on, if Zelensky, Trump can sit down and people from different nations, Europeans can sit down and come up with some kind of solution to whatever issues they have.
Mhm.
Why we need to start moving in that direction swiftly. You know, so uh units, African American. Now, my idea was African American or foundational Black Americans, we come up with how we work with each other in fixing our own issues, and we can possibly treaty. I like the word treaty. If you have any other words or any other functions of way about where government, okay, brother, not nah. Why do I can't never get his name? Nahima, right?
Nehemiah.
Nehemiah. He was supposed to be coming on, brother. You got to put your camera on if you're coming on. But I'm seeing it as we get out what we need to get done as foundational Black Americans, and
Right.
we treaty with others units or nations. For instance, like Haitians, Jamaicans.
Right. Right. I really think it's a neighborhood by neighborhood thing. I don't think it's, behooves us to try to go through governments and whatnot. It's a neighborhood by neighborhood thing, like having sister city projects, say a city on the East Coast and then a city on the West Coast, a city in the Midwest and a city in the South, linking up, whatnot, and having certain projects, putting plants in the ground. This city needs this city needs that. They exchange, y'all need corn. Okay, we got corn. Y'all need what? USBs. We'll send you some USBs or computers, and setting up these type of practical things because it just, it makes more sense than just some fake, oh yeah, we're brother, sister city, but we don't really do anything practical together. This, that's needed, So
I think that makes sense because basically you have your own government within a government. You know what I'm saying?
indeed.
Your own coalition, like
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying. Can nothing beat that? Because you said earlier, if they could sit down, why can't our people sit down? You understand? And I say
Yeah.
our people because it don't matter where you from, your nationality or so
Yeah.
as a brother. You
Mhm,
get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So what affects you affects me as well.
mhm.
Yeah.
Best believe.
You're a part of the fam, brother.
Yeah.
And see, because this is my rule like this.
Mhm.
If I know you black and you black, you black. But if you think you black, but I don't know you black, you might not be black. You feel me? See what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of the rule. And we know how that goes because a lot of people come to the table and they think they black, but we don't think they black. And we watch what they do and how they get down, and we be like, nah, you definitely not black, partner. No matter, you might be from a black land, homie, but you didn't get all the notes, man. No, sir. You might be on the road, on the plane, on the bus,
Mhm.
walking toward blackness, but you have not made it there, partner. So,
Mhm.
you know,
What defines the person's blackness, though?
I want. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Great question. Let's hold that thought.
Yeah.
Nehemiah, brother, Nehemiah X. I finally
Um,
got your name. Did I get it right?
yes, sir.
I
I
finally
appreciate
got
you. Yeah, yeah. Hey,
it.
hey,
Hey.
I wasn't tripping. I knew what you meant, so I wasn't tripping on you.
Yeah, yeah. I finally looked at your name like fully right here, Nehemiah. So, Nehemiah, where you from, and what is your role in the Black Round Table?
All right. Where I'm from now, born and raised, I'm from Valdosta, Georgia. Born and raised. Of course, my lineage is not from there; it's from another country place, but that's where I was born. I was able. Many people call this place the antebellum South. I was living in Orlando at a time, and it was a funny thing. The imam doing this Kupa, whatever, he was talking about the antebellum South and menticide and the things that were done to our people. And he talks about a story of a pregnant woman during this time in the antebellum South and how she was uh, accosted and mobbed up and hung upside down and tarred and feathered, and a baby was cut from her stomach, and they stepped on the baby with the boot heel and shot her up. Many people hear this story. Well, I'm from that place. I'm from the place where the blood on the leaves by Billie Holiday, when she wrote that song in memoriam to Miss Mary Turner.
Strange fruit. Yep.
Oh yeah. Who that? Yeah, blood on the leaf. Right. I'm thinking of the Kanye West sample. But that iconic moment of the strange fruit with the blood on the leaves, and Nina Simone would later recut that as well. I'm from that town where not only was Mary Turner lynched and tarred and feathered, and the baby was cut out and she was shot up, but countless of other of our people in that town were killed for her. She was killed for protesting because of her husband being killed, sharecropping in the South. He didn't want to work that day. He was sick. He was tired and sick, caught a cold, and the person he was sharecropping for, of course, came, gave him a lashing. Later on, the man who gave him the lashing, house would be shot up. They said the Negroes did it. They went on a citywide manhunt from the nearest counties around, and they, whoever they felt did it, they just, picked the nigga. And, some were thrown off bridges with turpentine cups, and some were before James Byrd. One was, it says that he was tied with the rope, and they tied it to a car, and they drove him from South Troop Street in Valdosta. I know where it's at. Y'all may not know. And drove him all the way to Brooks County, and piece by piece, they was just following after the car. He drove him so long that his body parts was just ripping off the carcass. Piece by piece, they gathered it. Because, back then it was cobblestones. It wasn't the asphalt we know today. They got piece by piece and gathered it and brought it to a nearby campground in Brooks County, which is a county over, the next county. And they put his body parts at a tree and burnt it, and and other ones that they did most things to. But she's the iconic one that the song was written about, that the anti-lynching bill would be made in her honor, Mary Turner. And that's where I was raised. That's where I was able to see the historic football. Football is a religion. That's where I was able to experience that and grow up with that. Now in this place as well, it would have remnants of SCLC, remnants of SNCC. We still have a Martin Luther King Commemoration Committee, a Mary Turner Committee. We have a Martin Luther King Parade, and those in this town were also able to be a part of making his birthday a national holiday. He had came through Valdosta and had mentored many of, whether it be the preachers that were here at the historic St. Paul AME Church, or whether it be the youth that would later be matriarchs and patriarchs in our town that were part of the SCLC, that were part of SNCC, and that were part of the Albany movement in Southwest Georgia. So I'm at the bottom of the map. Didn't mean to go long, but a place like that and things like that, you just can't skip over it.
Right. Now I get a better understanding of who you are. Now, what's your role in the Black Roundtable? I just want to say before you answer that question, Mag, I get your point. I get what you want to do. I've always got it, but tonight I don't know. I'm getting it even more now. Okay, so he's talking about. Let's have a conversation and then move. Let's move on it. And we're dealing with the 12 Jews when it comes to this.
Right. And there you go.
And we're dealing with.
Well, because the 12 Jews is something that's so universal that none of our people are going to deny those 12 things. I guarantee you. Even white people like the 12 Jews. You know what I mean?
Now let's go over the 12 Jews if
okay.
people don't know. if just in case if I mess up, somebody catch me. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice.
Oh, hold it. Let's stop right there. So when
Knowledge.
we say knowledge, wisdom, understanding, we know we talking about knowing, speaking, and then manifesting, right? But we also talking about man, woman, and child. All right. Right. So when man, woman, and child come together, then they can create. Go ahead.
Freedom, justice, and equality.
You see what I'm saying? Freedom, justice, and equality. Now let's talk about that. Freedom. Okay. Freedom is the ability to decide what you want for yourself and your people without the interference of others, right? Okay. Justice. Okay. Justice, if you cannot serve justice, you probably won't never get it. Right? And through serving that justice, it's a penalty or a reward. And that's what? Equality. That's where the equality comes in. Okay. Then we have what? Food, clothing, shelter, right. Okay. Now you notice that comes right after equality. You know, now that equality, that's kind of also when we come together as a community, not just as a family, but as groups of families. See, to produce what? Food, clothing, shelter. You see what I'm saying? Now, when we deal with food, we're not just dealing with physical food, we're dealing with also the mental food and spiritual food as well, that which enriches the Black family, you know?
Right.
See what I'm saying? When we deal with clothing, we're dealing with the proper protection of your mind and your body and your family and whatnot. Clothing, that which protects you from the, you know, the elements, the harshness of reality. And then when we deal with shelter, we're not just dealing with a home. Yeah, we're dealing with a home, but we're dealing with a place. Like when I say the House of Bastet, it's a collective and it's a place where all of our people can come together and be themselves, you know. You see what I'm saying? Be their natural Black self. See, nobody's turned away. As long as they okay with being their natural Black self, they're welcome. And then we go to what? Love, peace, and happiness. Right. But you got to go through these other 9 joints in order to get to love, peace, and happiness. You see what I'm saying? You're not just going to get to love, peace, and happiness. No, you got to go through these other 9, you know, realities.
Right.
So,
now,
yeah.
Okay, now we were talking about I want to kind of rewind. I was addressing the brother, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there he is.
Okay.
All right, brother Nehemiah. Now, welcome back. Now let's talk about your role in the Black Round Table. What's your role?
All right. Now me, role. I say I'm just a brother, and as a brother, I want for my brother, my sister, what I want for myself, and that's I can say that goes to the one just having love, truth, peace, freedom, and the equality in all walks of life. So me, I'm just a role player. Whatever is needed of me to do, that's a part of my expertise. It's not an issue for me to do. When we look at this Black Round Table, and we see when we say round, you know, we all think of this circle of a table. It's a metaphorical, but the circle is, when we look at a circle, we're looking at the cipher, but we're also looking at a completeness. So it's to have every aspect of our movement, everybody, every grouping there. So we all come together, you know, and this togetherness, us being links in the chain, I'm just one that offers, whether it be quality control, whether it being one who could get this person and another person to come together and we bond on the political line, you know, because just me as myself, well, most of us, we just don't organize in one capacity, whether we know it or not. There's no one way that we just handle ourselves or some one type of grouping
Exactly.
that we're around. In our everyday being, we have to know how to navigate and move around different walks of life of our people, and even ones that's not our people. So we able to get around our people that's not our people, able to maneuver around behind enemy lines with the open enemy. Well, surely we can come together, and now we don't have to be buddy and like each other, but we should know how to be cordial. Back in the days, we have ways that people know how to be cordial. Let's go to one that shook the earth. When people say boss, brother of the struggle, and people think it's just a GD thing. But when we look at boss, we go to Pontiac and we see that Benny Lee was there. We see Ike was there. We see Larry Hoover was there. We see so many peoples, whether it be Cicero and Sane Vice Lords, whether it be Black Souls, whether it be Black Gangsters, whether it be Black Gangster Disciples, you know, whether it be whatever. You know, you've seen all peoples and folks maneuvering under one common cause with boss. Even when you think of the commission, you have people that move in different ciphers and different groupings, and they were able to come together in some form of way, organized together. We even seen it way back with LSD and how Martin Luther King and later Fred Hampton all played a part in these groups coming together, having gang truces, and really get into nation building. So, you know, to kind of wrap that up, you know, excuse the chief alone win, but you know, that's my part. I offer that perspective.
That's deep right there.
Yeah, for sure. So okay,
he said something that was so dope. Like, you know, with all of them at the round table, the round table is already built already. It's already there. Like, you know, as Khalid said, you have the gangs, and I hate to flip it to that, so not to sound negative, but when he said Boss or Ross, I remember when Rick Ross had something going on with the GDs and how they just made one phone call and statewide it was stopping their shows. So like the round table's already there. It's just that the information, as you said, there's no organization, is not put in place. So I say with what you do in the Black Round Table, it could be the core to start the fire from within, and it spreads out, you know?
Right. So can I, when we do a podcast, can I just, instead of putting individual names, can I put the Black Round Table?
Yeah, the Black Round Table.
And so that when people see it and they see the Black Round Table, they don't know whether it's going to be Mag, the brother, oh my God, Nehemiah X, or Victorious God Allah, or Victorious Allah, or whoever else you would like to bring on.
Yeah.
Now, brother Nehemiah X, to talk about on future podcasts, can we expound a little bit on, you know, Boss, the Vice Lords, etc.? Can we talk about that a little bit?
I think we should. I'm not the best knower on them, but we can find some people, and my people can find some people, and we can get a lot of people that's official, you know what I'm saying, and plugged into the mob. God willing, you know what I mean?
Because that's a very important part of the Black Round Table, man. Really,
it's very important. But you know what? It's hard to get them on camera because, you know, of the politics and everything like that.
Well, we want to find somebody that is not, going through no stuff in court or nothing, and that, you know, can speak, you know, that's old enough, you know, and it has a, you know, is reputable. We don't want to put nobody on.
I think I could get, God willing, you know, somebody in the New African Independence Movement that's also connected. If maybe there could be a blessing given, and you know, of course, things are just going to be on a general basis, but we have some people in the cut that can aid towards, you know what I'm saying, real nice demonstrations, so we can allow people to understand what demon time is. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's, well, what are you demonstrating? You know what I mean? You're a demon. Okay, what you demonstrating? Is it good? Is it for the increase in the balance of our community, or is it for the destruction? You know what I'm saying? That's how you know what you demonstrating. You know, that's real demon time. We really want to get on it when it comes to, black disciples, you know, that once was devil disciples. They changed the demonstration, you know. So yeah, I definitely think that we need to get on that, because then now we'll be able to find ourselves through it. And many of us, although we was on Game Time, we was having to react out of whatever the circumstances were. You know, we seen a lot of the things that were created were for the good and for us to have some unity. And you know, a lot of things come through the chain. It comes through life, and may renegade at a time, or you know, the house may be divided against itself. So when we go in the past and we look back, you know, Elijah Muhammad always told us out of, you know what I'm saying, history is, you know, if anything was, hold on, let me get it. History is most qualified to reward our research. You know, he had said that, you know, if we study, if we look at today and we study yesterday, we get, you know, intelligently figure out today, just as and do the same today when we get into tomorrow, because today is based on yesterday, just like tomorrow is built on today. We heard Khaled always reiterate that as well, to where some people thought that he had made it. We hear Malcolm X that said it. So we constantly have to do that act of Sankofa so we can have some quality control. And that way, not saying everything in the past was good, but Sankofa means that we go back and get it. And we find the best out of that situation, and we see the worst. And we can make gumbo out of that thing. You know what I'm saying? And really keep it going. So yeah.
See, because you said something real important right there when you said we can make a gumbo, because gumbo means there's a lot of different things being brought together to make a soup. And most importantly, we at the Black Round Table. So we're going to eat. We ain't going to just talk. We're going to eat. You see what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah, you know, I think it starts out with knowledge Thanksgiving, though, because I think there's some false perceptions that we have about each other as organizations or as groups or tribes or whatever. There's some false perceptions, but when you peel back past those false perceptions, we're the same people, you know, doing the same thing, you know. But one thing white supremacy does, white supremacy specializes in putting false ideas and concepts and false labels on people.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, to where it makes the group dysfunctional. Because there's all these false ideas and concepts and false labels. When we move all them false ideas and false labels, all I see is my natural black self and your natural black self. Right?
It's just a fact. I always mention that because, you know, with the whole FBA movement, this whole diaspora war thing with the FBA, continental Africans and people in the Caribbean, to me, I always call it the war of special needs. People with special needs, dysfunctional, cognitive dissonance, because if you look at every African nation within the continent and you look at the Caribbean, you see the disenfranchised. It's not making a race a racist thing, but in reality, it is. The people that look like you are the ones that are suffering the most. But yet you still find time to go to war at each other. And just like you said, with Putin and sit down with Trump, that's the same thing that happened in Hispaniola. The Spaniards and the French sat down. The other groups when I went to Africa, the Belgian, the French, they all sat down, negotiated. They had their rifts for the territory, but they came to an agreement, said, you know what, we could build up our nation by taking their resources. But then our people got stuck. We already had tribal war within ourselves, but now colonization, brainwash, as his brother said, menticide. Now you really have a dislike for that brother because he's under that nation. And you know,
these are the things they create. Like when you talk about the Berlin Conference, right? And the lines that they drew in the continent. Okay, now let's just think about that. Close your eyes and think about that. The lines they drew through the continent. Now think of those lines being drawn in your head to separate you from your brothers and people like you. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we're dealing with, because, you know, we're talking about a people whose numbers are shrinking. So white supremacy would have to be more mental. We're not talking about a white man. We're talking about a white mind that's in us. What's the effect of the white mind? That it keeps us separated, using false ideas and concepts. Sometimes false ideas and concepts of ourselves that we embrace, you know, that divide us. See,
well, you know, why I heard it was called
Mhm.
Skunk of the Planet Earth, you know, because the white line divides the black, you know, and as we see that, and when we go and we say a FBA, right, or a ADOS, what we keep hearing though, what we keep hearing about in that is a hard line placed on America as though that is the beginning of the original man. Now, these diaspora wars also prove true when we look at going back into what happened with Shabazz and his seed. Oh, it's always a contest with us. It's always about whose clique can out dominate. You know, it's more about because everybody believes they're so right, and rather than us sit around and find the common ties in our political line to build on, rather than us seeing what attributes that we have that we could unify on, we always focus on what separates us. Kwame Ray highlights that not only does the enemy make you ignorant, he makes you involved with cultivating that ignorance. And we've seen this play out when all right, okay, the diaspora wars, but look how we infight the dozens. We was talking about the dozens and how it goes back to the slavery times about what master is the best master. When we break ourselves off and get into diaspora wars, we're talking about what master is greater than what master.
Exactly.
When it looks at it, when we start looking at
oh man, that's right.
and we see where we were dropped off on these boats, all you're doing is trying to brag about an ethnicity that the original man plays the most part in, whether it be the culture, whether it be the math, any type of science, we have the most giving into. But, you know, do we profit from it? No. Well, our ancestors built America, but did they profit from it? No. Okay. Well, you know, the red, white, and blue, okay, but did we profit from it? No. I mean, let's think about it. The most Southern dish that we think when we talk about soul food is also one of the most lucrative businesses for white folks. The Paula Deens, the Rachel Roys, who will take the culture and sell it on the mainstream. A food that we took from the scraps of giving a little bit of nothing and added our little flair to it. You know what I'm saying? Added our little spin on it. You know what I'm saying? Sauced it up. You know, gave it some drip. Or to my people in Orlando, man, gave it some juke. You know, they did all that and someone else take it, but we do not profit. So therefore, how do we get in a war, in this diaspora war, when we battle ourselves, thinking that, okay, winner at the end keeps all? You're right. But the original man is not the winner when he divides amongst himself. Beautiful. It doesn't matter what language you speak. When you're the original man. We have all the languages. We're the master of all tongues. We're the giver of language.
Come on.
So when we look at what cultural aspects we could connect and what we ostracize, thinking that this will get us closer to a reparations check, well, if you have not done the reparations inside of yourself, even when the reparations check happen, it will be spent.
Oh man. Yeah.
Malcolm X doctrine teaches us that not only can you have reparations, but you must have land and independence. When we brag on the colonizers' empire, that means that we don't want land and independence. If you just want reparations, but no land and independence, that's not reparations at all. It's just a Negro check. It'll be spent up, smoked up in a month. You know, I mean, come on, what we doing with the stimulus already?
Let me say this.
Jugging off the stimulus, but you know, and jugging off the triple P's, but as easy as the money comes, as easy as it can go.
Blink of an eye. A big part of repair means to put something back together, you know, and that's a big part of dismantling and keeping us kind of handicapped as individuals and as a collective, is keeping the different parts of the nation separated from each other. Feel me? Now, white supremacy is using all of us But the only way they can use us at the maximum and get the most out of us is by keeping the groups separate. Now think about this. The one person who talks to all of the different tribes, vibes, groups, organizations, and cliques amongst us is who? White folks. But we don't really all talk to each other, but he's talking to all of us. So he got information about all of us firsthand.
I didn't
You
think
feel me?
about that. Wow.
But we're not dealing with each other. So that puts us at a disadvantage, and that puts him at an advantage. You know what I'm saying? Right? Yeah,
Man.
so that's why when I talk about the Black Roundtable, bruh. See? Yeah, man.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's some shit to think about, isn't it? Yeah.
There's a lot of work to be done, man. This is
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I love the concept of the Black Roundtable, because as the brother Nehemiah explained, the figure of it being a round tables is complete. Multiple hands be involved. There's nobody above the program. It's one goal. You know,
Yes,
as
sir.
Malcolm said, keep your religious views, your
Mhm.
political ideologies outside. What's the common issue?
Tie your
that-
camel, indeed.
Yeah.
That's what we used to say in Islam. Tie your camel. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Well, we can look in, oh, go ahead, family.
no, go ahead. You got it.
I was gonna say we could look in ancient cultures that we have of high esteem and see a round table. If we think closely and we think of Kemet,
Mm.
you know, they had Ra and Adam, you know, they always had a monotheistic, but they had different mystery
Right.
schools that were prominent on a different nectar, you know. And we look at nectar not just as gods and all that, but as an element and a symbology of nature, you know.
Thanks.
And you had all these different. This one right here, that's where he from. He from Bubastis. You know, that's where the cat and Best. That's the house of Bastet over there. You know, that person is from Heliopolis. Oh, okay, that's the house of Haru over there, and they believe in da 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 da. This one's from the Agda. This one's from the Eniad. But there was a way that they still had different lands that was, you know, tied together. You know, we think of Benin and Ghana and Nigeria and things, but we see that there's a common language amongst all those spiritual systems. And those spiritual systems, whether people say Ifa or Kandable, or people say Isheshe, or people say Santeria, etc., they all have a common language tied to each other, regardless of what house they're in. Somebody may say, oh, I'm in the house of Shango, I'm in the house of Yemanya, I'm in, you know, I'm just straight up, that's true. But they all have that kind of language, and the houses have a place to where during the festivals, they can all come together. They can all speak the language. They can all come together and have checks and balances and say, well, this is the order of this incoming year. And our part of where we excel at, this is what we'll be doing. And then the other person says what they'll be doing. People are talking and communicating with each other and looking at how this will lead into a bigger plan of everybody adding their piece. You know, this is the family reunion. This is everybody meeting at that different networks of the family saying, well, shit, I ain't been down here in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I met some family that I haven't ever knew I had. You know what I'm saying? 3 generations lost and 3 generations could come back. You know, and this is what we have to look at it now, because there's been a splitting of the tongue amongst our organizations, amongst the vibes that we all could go to and that we resonate with. There has been a way that somebody has purposely, an entity has purposely caused us to not get along with each other, us to, whenever we do get along with each other, somebody do some foul shit, and we use the foul shit as a reason not to fuck with nobody at all. And then we become individualistic. And as we're individualistic, we're losing, but then we say, fuck it. You know, I ain't trying to go ahead and go out on the limb and trust somebody else. I'm not winning here, but it's a place of what? Comfortability. And they always talk about comfortability. They talk about if you want to boil a frog and you want it to be successful, you just want to turn up the heat. They say you put it in there when it's cool, lukewarm, and you just gradually turn up the heat. And then before you know it, damn, ain't working. It's the last stage of human development. What do? We losing. Can't do shit in the fourth quarter with 30 seconds on the board.
Hey.
When you get a point at halftime, let's do some halftime type shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm looking at.
Indeed. You know, real quick, but we're about to click off and everything like that in the podcast conclude. But once we click off, I want y'all brothers to stay on this real quick, because I want to build with y'all about the Black Roundtable, because the Black Roundtable, I'm realizing how important it actually really is. And it really sounds like PAR, Project African Restoration. Yeah, Restoration. We created a organization in 2020 called
5 years ago. Damn.
Yeah, Project African Restoration. We brought more to the table, 5% to the table, and other people. And what we did was we would share information. We would all get the same books. And the goal was to read and build on what the Moors are talking about, what the 5% nation is building on, NOI, and feed the people like practical, things, feeding the community, putting programs up and things like that. So so I mean, we have a whole business plan for that and everything that we could send to you so you can take a look at it. But
we got an online paper we're putting out called the Eye of the Panther, and we would definitely like to interview you on that, and feature that within there. It's a digital paper.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So that's peace. We're gonna conclude here. Every time you see the Black Roundtable, these are the faces that you're gonna see on the on the podcast. Look forward to seeing another podcast from the Black Roundtable. Thanks to everybody viewing this evening. We really appreciate you coming out. And we have a throwback. We have a flashback Friday coming out Friday, and we're back on the podcast Monday evening at 7:00. The schedule is Monday 7 to 9, Tuesday 8:15 to 9:15, and then Wednesday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every week. We always do a flashback Friday, and that's the format. Thank y'all for showing up this evening. I really appreciate you, brothers. And we are out of here. Peace.
Peace.